Hi.
How are you?
Good. What are we doing?
Well, while we're getting ready for this big trip and packing the motorhome and planning what to take, we thought we'd put together a video with
The 5 things you probably haven't thought of that you really, really need.
to travel with.
And this comes from 2 years experience driving around.
And all of these things we've needed, and some of them we've bought on the road because
we needed them.
we needed it and we didn't have it. So we've just picked 5 of the top essential things that
To us.
Yeah, to us, but also, you know, highly recommend. And I've seen quite a few people ask on the Jayco owners group what people take, like what people think are essential. So this is our 5.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with
Ladder.
number 5.
Number 5.
And we'll work our way up.
Okay.
All right, so we'll show you the ladder. Okay, this is number 5. The motorhomes come with ladders. So there's a really long ladder that comes with this and a shorter ladder that comes with the drop-down bed. But we bought this on the road because we found that we didn't have a ladder for outside to be able to get high up for the awning. I use this ladder instead of the big ladder if I just need to get something from the Luton Peak, because we store a lot of stuff up there. And if you're a little bit vertically challenged like I am, I can't reach the skylight to open it. So I use this ladder inside all the time, like every day. And we bought it from Bunnings.
Bunnings, we did.
I think it was about $48, but I think we jagged it on sale.
Yeah.
So that is an absolute must. We actually travel with that just up in there when we're on the road. So that's 5. Okay, and number 4 is?
AdBlue. We bought 2 3.5 litre containers of AdBlue from Supercheap because on our travels we found out that most service stations don't have AdBlue in the Bowsers.
Most regional
and outback ones.
Yeah.
So it's 7 litres. We've got a 22 litre AdBlue tank. So if we get stuck or in a bit of trouble and can't buy any, we've got that as a backup.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Okay, number 3, don't travel without spare fuses. So we've got a little box here with all the different colours. We've got another little plastic bag here with a few more spares. We have also already needed to replace some fuses. So what was the reason for that?
You might have seen this in one of our episodes that we tried to put the bed up with a mattress topper on it, and the fuses just burnt out instantly.
That was when we first bought this motorhome home.
So that's how we learnt not to put things on the bed when you put it up.
Yeah.
And the whole 12-volt system has like 30 fuses in it, so like in a panel. So everything you use can stop, basically.
Yeah, and I remember that we had one spare fuse that came with the motorhome for the bed, but then it blew that fuse as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
And we had to, luckily we were parked at home, we went over and asked a neighbour if he had another one. So if that had happened on the road, you'd be out looking for fuses. So since then, we went and purchased the spare ones to have.
Because there's a lot of fuses in this motorhome.
Yeah, and the ones for the drop-down bed and everything are in that, under the lounge there. And
up in the cupboard for the lights, for the switching panel, for the lights and everything else, it's 12 volt.
Yep.
There's a lot of 12 volt stuff in here.
So if you have all of the different ones, it should get you...
It'll get you out of trouble.
Out of a bit of trouble. Okay. Okay, we're down to number 2. So our second most important item to travel with. We're going to do 2 for the price of 1 with this because they're similar. So it's a drill and an impact drill. We've got 1 of each. We've used them both, so we'll tell you why.
Okay, that is for putting your hex pegs in the ground and getting them back out. You don't want to be trying to get hex pegs out of rocky hard ground. It's impossible. These are a godsend.
What did we used to do before that?
Oh, I don't even know.
Hammer
the spikes in and try and pull them out, and this is so much easier. And impact wrench.
So important.
This is when we changed our wheel. We had to change a tyre. This made the job so much easier. If I hadn't had that, I'd still be doing it.
By hand.
By hand.
Yeah, because it means actually
Like nuts.
trying to get the nuts off each one by hand and also putting them back on.
Yeah, putting them back on is the main thing.
So obviously Brian had to crack the nuts manually with...
So we bought an extendo wrench for those back wheels and the front wheels because it just brings it out further from the hub. You just crack it with this and then you use this. It's so easy.
Yeah, and then putting the tyre back on as well.
So much easier.
So in one of our videos when we were down in South Australia, when we had so many problems with the tyres and we did actually have to change the tyre, I was so pleased that we were prepared and we had that. Otherwise it would have been a much harder job. So they're just all handy. This extension valve is kept in our toolkit. The drill's kept under the back seat, and this drill is kept at the front door, just in one of those little nooks.
So it's easy to grab.
Yeah, so it's easy to grab when we're putting the awning out and putting the ropes on. But this one
is a must. If you need to change a tyre,
absolutely.
it's a lifesaver.
Can you imagine trying to do it without it?
Oh, no.
Without the right tools?
Because you'd have to go like half a turn, half a turn, half a turn.
Yep. Okay, and then that brings us down to number 1 in a minute.
Which is?
Hang on. All right, drum roll.
Number 1.
Our number 1 tip for travelling in the motorhome that has helped us out on so many occasions that I use it all the time. It's my favourite toy.
Show me the front of the box.
Is the Ryobi tyre pressure inflator.
18 bolt.
Yep. So no cords required. Comes with a battery, which we'll show you in a minute, that also doubles as the battery for the impact wrench.
And where did we buy these?
Bunnings.
Bunnings, of course.
You might have seen me using this before on
everyone's seen you using
some
it.
previous videos. We'll take you outside and show you how easy it is. So really compact. Battery pops in under there.
And that's the spare battery and charger.
Charger, yep. The excellent thing about this, because I remember reading and doing a bit of research about what we might have needed, because we had so many problems with tyres because of the dual tyres and the cheap valves, and then even air going out of them after we had the better extension valves fitted. It goes up to 150 psi. So
it will inflate most things.
Absolutely.
Like tyres and trucks.
Yeah. So, most people with their motorhomes, whatever you're running your tyres on, based on the specifications.
This will cover it.
Yeah, up to 80, because it goes up to 150 psi. So that is just a must, and it wasn't very expensive.
No, and you use it every time. Before we pack up and leave, you always go around and check all the tyres.
Check all the tyres. Also check the tyre pressure on the Suzuki if we're towing that.
Because it has a digital readout on the back?
Yep.
To tell you the tyre pressure as well?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I'm going to show you.
Yeah, okay.
We'll go outside and have a test.
So, what do you do?
So battery just...
Slam the battery in?
Yep. I've just taken the little cover off this one that we haven't got the tyre pressure management system on.
All right.
I'm just going to get that around the right way.
So it's on?
61.5, it's a bit low.
61.5.
Yep. So it tells you what it is. So just inflating it to whatever you like. Like, I'll go around and test all of those again before we head off, so put a bit more in them.
But that's how easy it is.
That's how easy that is.
And we check it before we leave every campsite. You
don't have to go looking for air somewhere.
No.
I think before we bought this, remember when we were at one of the beachside places, Scott's Head, and we had to ask the guy next to us, he was carrying a bigger one, because it was leaking out of the valves again. So that's when we just went, we need to go and buy ourselves one.
And
so,
if you're like towing the car especially, you can't pull in the servos.
No.
No.
Number 1 tip.
Number 1 tip.
Okay.
And what's the only other thing we need?
Coffee.
Yeah, and we just bought that.
Done.
So that's our 5 things.
Hope that's been helpful.
Yeah. And as we said, it's from our experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we've really needed on the road.
What we've used a fair bit. So it's not long now until we are headed off, and you might have seen the little short that we put out about where we're going.
It's very close.
It's not far away at all. So travel along with us. Obviously, as always, we're going to show you where we're staying.
So where are we going?
We're going to places like, well, we're headed for Winton,
Yep.
Longreach, lots of places in between.
Daily Waters pub.
Yep. Brian really wants to stay there, but well, that's a must because it's on the way. We're headed up to Mataranka.
Yep.
And then Catherine.
And Bitter Springs.
Yeah. I really want to get up to the national parks at Nipmaluk and...
These are like our bucket list things.
Kakadu, depending on time. So that's the plan.
It can change at any time.
It'll evolve. As we've said along the way, it's been really flooded in those places like Winton and Longreach.
That's the exact places we're going to go, yeah.
But that was a little while ago now, so we're just hoping and,
I think it's going to be green and beautiful.
I hope so. Yeah. And we want to go and support those places.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come along with us and we really look forward to sharing all of that with everybody.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye.